I'm of the opinion that every man has a right to defend himself. Even felons, once they've served their time, they should be given their rights back. I just want to be clear that I'd never call the ATF for a violation of the National Firearms Act, unless it was a government official. That's the case here, and I want you to see how apathetic they are when the people in their own club break their own rules.
ATF, Washington, D.C., how can I help you?
Yes, I'm having an issue with local law enforcement. According to your website, it says that I should contact local law enforcement if I'm not an FFL. The issue I'm having is there was a burglary. My grandfather was the FFL, and he was also the owner of the firearm.
Okay, and it was logged into his inventory, the firearms?
I believe so. I don't have access to his paperwork anymore.
Is he the only designated individual?
That's correct.
Because then, all right, so then you would have to go through the process of getting the FFL license transferred over to another individual. Have you started that process?
My grandfather was burglarized, sawed-off shotgun. It's an NFA item, and the local sheriff's department doesn't seem to care about it. They actually covered up the burglary before my grandfather's death.
Okay, so
There's
because there's some.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yes, go ahead.
Let me go through the steps that need to be taken in order to gain a solution to this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, number one, like I said, there are designated people who fall under the license. Number one, you'll have to file for someone else to be a designated person under that license if your grandfather was the only individual who was under that FFL. Even if you would not like to renew it, in case something like this ever happens again, you would need to have someone else be a designated individual. So either that be yourself, or any other family member, or any other employee that your grandfather might have had. I'm going to go through the whole process for you. For reporting it to the NFA branch, for reporting it to your local police department, for reporting it to the licensing department, for everything. But I'm telling you what you need to do in order to get it reported properly, okay?
I've already reported to local law enforcement. There's been an internal affairs investigation. In that investigation, they basically denied the NFA item existed.
We have nothing to do with the local police department. I'm telling you, for you to report it to the ATF, what steps you're going to have to do. Would you like that information?
Yes, go ahead.
So then the next step that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to file the paperwork for lost or stolen inventory. Okay? I'm going to tell you how you're going to have to do that. So you're going to have to go onto our website at atf.gov. Just pull it up here at the form. Go onto our website at atf.gov, and on there there's going to be a form. The form number is going to be ATF Form F3310.11.
I'm aware of this process. You know, I read it all before I called you guys up. What I'm saying is it says you don't accept reports from individuals. You're only going to accept reports for stolen firearms from an FFL dealer. The man who burglarized my grandfather's home potentially had power of attorney over him. So it wouldn't technically be a burglary, and he would be the one who would have control over the business essentially. But he took possession of an NFA item without a tax stamp. How do I report that? I don't think I'm going to be able to do the licensing route.
Okay. Well, the next step in the process anyway, especially because it's an NFA item, is going to be contacting the NFA branch and notifying them that it was lost or stolen. But the only way to report stolen inventory, even if it is an NFA item, it's through that paperwork that I just told you about.
Okay. So what you're telling me is basically it's not looking like I can report a illegal weapon to the ATF as a private citizen. What's that?
I just told you how you could report it. I just walked through the process of how you.
I'm gonna have to basically seize the company legally, file for that. My grandfather's deceased.
You're not seizing the company. You would become a designated individual under the FFL. All it is that you are able to report the contents of the inventory.
And anybody can do that? To any FFL dealer?
What do you mean?
So if
FFL dealers have designated individuals who report
right,
inventory, like all the inventory paperwork every year when you have to report your inventories, all your forms, etc., blah, blah, blah. All that is done by designated employees. If your grandfather was the only person as a designated employee, then he's the only person who could have reported that. What I'm telling you is that if you would like to, in case this ever happens again, if you would like to be able to file the paperwork properly with the ATF, then this is what needs to happen, is someone needs to be a designated person under the FFL.
So the ATF can't help me in an expedited fashion to get a illegal weapon off the street that was stolen in a burglary, is what I'm hearing. I'm gonna have to jump through bureaucratic hoops, and I'm not an employee. And the FFL's been dissolved. His estate's been dissolved, so.
I'm just telling you what the process is.
He sawed it off illegally.
Okay, well, if it's a personal fire, okay. So if your grandfather sawed off a personal firearm illegally, then you have to report that to your local police department.
And I did, and they did an investigation on it, and they basically covered up for the person who stole it, and yeah. They didn't even mention that I mentioned it in the report. All right. I mean, I think you've done all you. I think I was trying to say thank you for help and goodbye, but okay.